They say you should never judge a book by its cover, but sometimes the most beautiful stories are hidden beneath the dirtiest pages. I learned this at 32, standing in my garage at 3 in the morning, watching a woman collapse in the rain outside my shop. My name is Jake Martinez, and I thought my biggest problem was keeping my failing auto repair business afloat. I had no idea that helping a stranger would lead me into a world of music industry betrayal, stolen fortunes, and a love that would prove some voices are worth more than all the money in the world. The storm had been building all evening, thunder rolling across the valley like a freight train. I was working late again, trying to finish Mrs. Chen's transmission before morning, when I heard it through the rain. A sound that made my hands freeze on the wrench. Someone was singing. Not just humming or whistling, but really singing. The kind of voice that stops time, that makes you forget you're standing in a dingy garage with oil under your fingernails and bills piling up on the counter. It was coming from the alley behind my shop, where the dumpsters sat and the street light flickered. I wiped my hands on my coveralls and stepped outside. The rain hit me immediately, soaking through my shirt, but I barely noticed. The voice was clearer now, singing something soft and heartbreaking about lost love and second chances. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever heard. That's when I saw her. She was huddled against the brick wall of the building next door, knees drawn up to her chest, long brown hair hanging in wet tangles around her face. Her clothes were soaked through, torn jeans, and a jacket that had seen better days. She looked like she hadn't eaten in weeks. But when she sang, she looked like an angel. I stood there for a moment, not wanting to interrupt, just listening. Then a flash of lightning illuminated her face, and I saw her eyes were closed, tears mixing with the rain on her cheeks. She was shivering violently. "Hey," I called out, stepping closer. "You okay?" She stopped singing immediately, her head snapping up. Even in the dim light, I could see the fear in her eyes. She scrambled to her feet, backing away. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice hoarse now, different from the liquid gold I'd heard moments before. "I didn't mean to bother anyone. I'll go." "Wait." I held up my hands. "You're not bothering me. It's pouring rain. You're gonna get sick out here." She looked at me warily, like a stray cat deciding whether to trust the hand offering food. "I'm fine." "When's the last time you ate?" I asked. She didn't answer, but her eyes darted away. That told me everything I needed to know. "Look, I've got a couch in my office. It's warm, it's dry, and there's a coffee pot that actually works. No strings attached. Just until the storm passes." For a long moment, she just stared at me. Then another clap of thunder shook the building, and she nodded once, quickly. I led her through the back door of the shop, past the cars waiting for repair, to the small office where I did paperwork and occasionally crashed when I worked too late. It wasn't much, just a desk, a filing cabinet, and an old couch I'd bought at a yard sale, but it was clean and warm. "There's towels in the bathroom," I said, pointing to a door in the corner. "And I think I've got some clothes that might fit you. My ex left some things here." She nodded again, still not meeting my eyes. "Thank you. What's your name?" I asked. "Sarah," she said after a pause. "Sarah Johnson." Even then, I could tell she was lying. But I didn't push. People on the streets had their reasons for keeping secrets. "I'm Jake. Jake Martinez. This is my shop." She looked around at the cluttered office, the faded photos of classic cars on the walls, the stack of unpaid bills on the desk. "How long have you had it?" "About 5 years. Inherited it from my uncle." I shrugged. He was better at the business side than I am. Sarah almost smiled at that. "What do you mean?" "I mean I'm great at fixing cars. I'm not so great at making money doing it. Half my customers pay me in casseroles and promises." This time she did smile, just a little. "That's not necessarily a bad thing. Tell that to the electric company." She laughed, a sound almost as beautiful as her singing. "You're funny." I try. "Listen, are you hungry? I've got some leftover pizza in the fridge." I don't want to impose. "You're not." I was gonna eat it anyway, and it's always better with company. We sat on the couch, sharing cold pizza and talking. Sarah was careful with her words, revealing nothing about her past, but she was smart, funny, and kind. She asked about my work, about the cars, about the town. She listened like she really cared about the answers. "You love this place," she said, looking around the shop through the office window. "Yeah, I do. It's not much, but it's mine, you know? Every car that comes in here has a story. Mrs. Chen's Honda has been running for 20 years because I keep it going. Tommy Peterson's truck hauls feed to horses that wouldn't eat otherwise. I'm not just fixing engines. I'm keeping people moving." Sarah's eyes softened. "That's beautiful. What about you? What do you do?" Her face closed off immediately. I used to work in music. But that was a long time ago." "What kind of music?" "Singing. Writing. Performing." She stood up quickly. "I should go." The rain stopped. "Stay," I said. "Please. It's late, and you've got nowhere to go. I can see it in your eyes." She turned away from me. "You don't know anything about me. I know you've got the most beautiful voice I've ever heard. I know you're running from something. And I know you're scared." I stood up too, moving slowly so I wouldn't spook her. "But you don't have to be. Not here." She was quiet for a long time. Finally, she said, "I can't pay you anything. I'm not asking for payment. Why are you helping me?" I thought about it. "Because someone should. Because you look like you need help. And because when you were singing out there, it was the first time in months I felt like the world might actually be beautiful." She turned back to me then, and I saw tears in her eyes. "Okay. Just for tonight." That was 3 weeks ago. Sarah had been sleeping on my couch ever since, and I was falling in love with her more each day. She helped around the shop, sweeping floors and organizing parts. She was good with customers and had a way of making them feel heard and valued. And sometimes, when she thought I wasn't listening, she would sing while she worked. Those were the moments that made everything else worth it. I tried to respect her privacy, but I couldn't help noticing things. Her hands were too soft for someone who'd been on the streets long. She knew things about music that went beyond casual interest. And sometimes, when she thought I wasn't looking, she would stare at the old radio in the corner like it held all the answers to questions she couldn't ask. "You ever think about performing again?" I asked one evening as we closed up shop. She was wiping down the counter, her back to me. "No." "Why not?" "You've got real talent, Sarah. Like, otherworldly talent." "Talent isn't enough," she said quietly. "Sometimes it's the thing that destroys you." I wanted to ask what she meant, but she had that look again. The one that said the conversation was over. That night, I lay on the air mattress I'd set up in the back room, listening to her moving around in the office. I'd given her the couch and insisted on it, even though my back was killing me. She was worth it. She was worth everything. I was almost asleep when I heard it. Soft at first, then stronger. She was singing again, but this time it was different. Sadder. More personal. The words drifted through the thin walls. "I gave you everything I had, every note, every word, every piece of my heart. But you sold it all for silver, left me broken in the dark. Now I'm just a ghost of melodies, a shadow of a song, wondering if I'll ever find the place where I belong." I'd never heard those lyrics before, but they felt familiar somehow. Like they were telling a story I already knew. The next morning, I was working on a carburetor when the bell above the door chimed. I looked up to see a man in an expensive suit, completely out of place in my grimy shop. He was probably in his 50s, with silver hair perfectly styled, and shoes that cost more than I made in a month. "Can I help you?" I asked, wiping my hands on a rag. "I'm looking for someone," he said. His voice was smooth and practiced. "A woman. About 30, brown hair, probably going by a fake name. She has a very distinctive voice." My stomach dropped, but I kept my expression neutral. "Don't know anyone like that." He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "I think you do. Her real name is Sophia Reyes." She's a very talented singer. Very valuable. I'd heard that name before. Sophia Reyes. It tickled something in my memory, but I couldn't place it. Like I said, I don't know anyone like that. The man reached into his jacket and pulled out a business card. Marcus Webb, Platinum Records. If you see her, there's a substantial reward for information leading to her whereabouts. He set the card on the counter and turned to leave. At the door, he paused. She's not well, you know. Mentally unstable. She needs professional help, not some garage mechanic playing hero. After he left, I stared at the card in my hands. Platinum Records. That was one of the biggest labels in the country. And Sophia Reyes. I grabbed my phone and did a quick search. The results made my blood run cold. Sophia Reyes. Grammy-winning singer-songwriter. Her debut album had sold millions of copies and spawned 3 number-1 hits. She'd been on top of the world 2 years ago. Then, according to the articles I found, she'd had a mental breakdown during a live performance. She'd walked off stage mid-song and hadn't been seen in public since. But the pictures were definitely Sarah. My Sarah. I was still staring at my phone when she walked in from the office, carrying 2 cups of coffee. "You look like you've seen a ghost," she said, handing me one of the cups. I looked at her, this woman I'd fallen in love with, and saw her clearly for the first time. The bone structure that photographs beautifully. The way she moved with unconscious grace. The voice that could make angels weep. "Sophia," I said quietly. She froze. The coffee cup slipped from her fingers, shattering on the concrete floor. "I don't know what you're talking about," she said, but her voice was shaking. I held up my phone, showing her the screen. Sophia Reyes. 3 Grammy Awards. Album of the Year. Artist of the Year. "Where have you been for the past 2 years?" She stared at the phone, then at me. I saw the exact moment she realized there was no point in lying anymore. "How did you find out?" "A man came by. Marcus Webb. He's looking for you." All the color drained from her face. "Marcus. Oh God, he found me. Who is he?" "My manager. My former manager." She sank into the chair by my desk. "He's the reason I disappeared." "What do you mean?" She was quiet for a long time. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. "I was 27 when I signed with Platinum Records. I thought I was the luckiest girl in the world. Marcus Webb was going to make me a star. And he did. My first album went platinum in 3 months. I was selling out arenas, winning awards, living the dream." She paused, wrapping her arms around herself. But Marcus wanted more than just my music. He wanted to control everything. Who I talked to, where I went, what I ate, what I wore. He said it was for my own good, that I was too naive to handle fame on my own. And for a while, I believed him. What changed? I found out he was stealing from me. Royalties, concert earnings, merchandising deals. He'd been siphoning money into his own accounts for years. When I confronted him, he said I was unstable and that I was imagining things. He convinced everyone around me that I was having a breakdown. Please consider subscribing to Soul-Stirring Stories if this tale is touching your heart. We share powerful stories of love, hope, and second chances that remind you that healing is always possible. Tap subscribe and join our community of story lovers who believe in light after darkness. That performance where you walked off stage. I'd just found out the truth. All of it. Marcus had been lying to me for years, stealing from me, manipulating me. I couldn't stand up there and pretend anymore. I couldn't sing his lies. So you ran. I had to. He had lawyers, contracts, and people who would do anything to protect his reputation. I had nothing but my voice, and he'd convinced the world that even that wasn't reliable anymore. I set down my coffee cup and moved closer to her. "Sophia. Don't," she said, holding up a hand. "Don't look at me like that. Like I'm some tragic figure who needs saving. I've been saved enough for one lifetime. That's not how I'm looking at you." "Then how?" I knelt beside her chair, taking her hands in mine. Like the woman who helped me fix cars for 3 weeks without complaining. Like the person who made me laugh when I thought I'd forgotten how. Like the voice that made me believe in beautiful things again. She was crying now, tears streaming down her face. You don't understand. Marcus won't give up. He'll do whatever it takes to get me back. He's too invested in me to let me go. Then we fight him. We? You think I'm gonna let you face this alone? After everything we've been through? She shook her head. Jake, you don't know what you're saying. This man has millions of dollars, teams of lawyers, and connections everywhere. He could destroy you. Let him try. Why would you risk that? For me? I cupped her face in my hands, looking into her eyes. Because I love you. Not Sofia Reyes the singer. Not the Grammy winner or the platinum-selling artist. I love Sarah, the woman who sweeps my floors and makes terrible jokes and sings like an angel when she thinks no one's listening. She leaned into my touch. I love you too. That's why I have to leave. I won't let him hurt you. Where will you go? I don't know. Somewhere far away. Somewhere he can't find me. Running isn't living, Sophia. It's just surviving. Before she could respond, the front door burst open. Marcus Webb walked in, followed by 2 large men in dark suits. Security, I realized. Muscle. There you are, Marcus said, his voice sickeningly sweet. Sophia, darling, you've had us so worried. It's time to come home. I'm not going anywhere with you, Sophia said, standing up. I moved to stand beside her. Marcus's eyes flicked to me dismissively. Mr. Martinez, isn't it? I appreciate you taking care of our girl here, but this is a private matter. Sophia needs professional help, not some garage mechanic playing doctor. She's not sick, I said. She's running from you. Marcus laughed. I'm her manager. I made her career. Without me, she's nothing. Without you, she's free, I shot back. The 2 security guards stepped forward, but Marcus held up a hand. Sophia, be reasonable. You have contracts and obligations. People are depending on you. People like you mean, Sophia said. People who want to profit from my voice while I get nothing. You got everything. Fame, fortune, success. I gave you the world. You gave me a cage. Marcus's patience was wearing thin. Enough. You're coming with me. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. She's not going anywhere, I said, stepping between them. One of the security guards reached for Sophia, but she dodged behind me. Jake, don't. Please. Listen to her, Marcus said. Don't make this more difficult than it needs to be. That's when I heard it. The sound of car doors slamming outside. Through the window, I saw Sheriff Martinez pulling up in his patrol car. My cousin Danny, who I'd called while Marcus was talking. Looks like we've got company, I said. Marcus's face darkened. This isn't over, Sophia. You can't hide forever. Maybe not, she said. But I don't have to hide anymore. Sheriff Martinez walked in, hand resting on his holster. Everything okay here, Jake? Just some customers who were about to leave, I said. Marcus looked between me, Sophia, and the sheriff. Finally, he nodded to his men. We'll be back, he said. With lawyers. After they left, Sophia collapsed into the chair again. He's right. He'll be back with lawyers, injunctions, and contracts. I can't fight him. Maybe you can't, I said. But we can. Over the next few days, I learned more about the music industry than I ever wanted to know. Sophia and I spent hours going through old contracts, financial records, and anything that might prove Marcus had been stealing from her. She'd kept copies of everything, hidden in a storage unit across town. The evidence was overwhelming. Marcus had been embezzling from her for years, using shell companies and fake expenses to hide the theft. He'd stolen millions of dollars, money that should have gone to Sophia. But we needed help. Legal help. And lawyers cost money I didn't have. That's when Sophia made a decision that changed everything. "I'm going to perform again," she announced one evening as we sat in the office, surrounded by paperwork. "What?" "A concert. Just one. Here in town. We'll charge admission, and use the money to hire lawyers." "Sophia, that's crazy. Marcus will never let you perform. He'll get an injunction or something." "Not if he doesn't know about it until it's too late." We spent the next week planning in secret. Sophia would perform at the old theater downtown, the one that had been closed for years. We'd sell tickets word of mouth, keep it small and intimate. Just her, a piano, and the voice that had made her famous. The night of the concert, I stood backstage watching her get ready. She was nervous, I could tell, but there was something else in her eyes. Determination. Fire. "You don't have to do this," I said. "Yes, I do. I've been silent for too long. It's time to use my voice again." She walked out onto that stage, and the small crowd that had gathered fell silent. Without any introduction, any fanfare, she began to sing. It was the song I'd heard her singing that first night, the one about being broken and left in the dark. But this time, it was different. This time, it was defiant. This time, it was her truth. The audience was mesmerized. People were crying, standing, applauding. But more importantly, they were listening. Really listening. When she finished, the theater erupted in cheers. But Sophia wasn't done. She moved to the microphone and began to speak. "My name is Sophia Reyes," she said. "Some of you might know me from my music. What you don't know is that I've been hiding for 2 years, running from a man who stole my voice, my money, and my life." She told them everything. About Marcus, about the theft, about the lies and manipulation. She told them about finding refuge in a garage, about falling in love with a mechanic who saw her as a person, not a product. By the time she finished, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. That concert changed everything. Videos of Sophia's performance went viral within hours. News outlets picked up the story. Marcus's theft was exposed to the world, and with it, his entire operation began to crumble. The lawyers came to us after that. Pro bono, they said. They wanted to help Sophia get justice. It took months of legal battles, but eventually, Marcus was arrested for fraud and embezzlement. Sophia got her money back, her career back, and her life back. But most importantly, she got her voice back. 6 months later, Sophia and I stood on the stage of the old theater, which had been renovated into a proper concert venue. The Sophia Reyes Community Arts Center, the sign outside read. "You know," I said, looking out at the seats that would soon be filled with music lovers, "I never thought I'd end up in show business." Sophia laughed, that beautiful sound that had first drawn me to her. "You're not in show business. You're in the hope business. Just like you always were." "What do you mean?" "You fix things that are broken. You keep people moving. You give them hope that tomorrow will be better than today." She took my hand. "You did that for me. We did it for each other." She smiled. "Yes, we did." That night, Sophia performed her first official concert in over 2 years. The theater was packed, every seat filled with people who had come to hear the voice that had survived betrayal, theft, and heartbreak. But before she sang for them, she sang for me. A new song, one she'd written in my garage while I worked on cars, and she remembered how to dream again. "This is for Jake," she said into the microphone. "The man who taught me that love isn't about being saved. It's about being seen." As her voice filled the theater, I realized that Marcus had been wrong about one thing. Sophia wasn't valuable because of her voice. Her voice was valuable because of who she was. And she was mine, just like I was hers. 2 years later, the Sophia Reyes Community Arts Center had become the heart of our small town. Sophia performed there regularly, but she also taught music classes, held workshops for young singers, and provided a space for local artists to showcase their work. I still ran the garage, but now I also managed the technical side of the theater. Turned out, fixing sound systems wasn't so different from fixing engines. Both required patience, skill, and the belief that broken things could be made whole again. Our wedding was held on that same stage where Sophia had reclaimed her voice. It was small, intimate, just like that first secret concert. Sophia wore a simple white dress and sang her vows instead of speaking them. I stood there, covered in happy tears, thinking about how lucky I was to love someone who could turn pain into music and music into hope. During the reception, as we danced to a song she'd written about second chances, Sophia whispered in my ear, "Do you ever regret it? Giving up your quiet life for all this chaos?" I looked around at the theater filled with friends and family, at the life we'd built together from nothing but love and determination. "Never," I said. "You're the best thing that ever happened to me. Even when I was lying to you about who I was? Especially then. Because it meant you trusted me with your truth." She smiled, that smile that had gotten me through the darkest nights and the hardest fights. "I love you, Jake Martinez." "I love you too, Sophia Reyes." As the music played and the stars shone through the theater's glass ceiling, I realized that some stories don't have endings. They just have new beginnings, one song at a time. Sometimes the most beautiful music comes from the most broken places. Sophia taught me that. She also taught me that love isn't about saving someone. It's about standing with them while they save themselves. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that everyone deserves a second chance to find their voice, please consider subscribing to Soul-Stirring Stories. We believe in the power of love to transform lives, the courage to fight for what's right, and the truth that the most beautiful songs often come from the deepest pain. Until next time, keep listening for the music in the broken places. You never know what beautiful thing you might find.